All right, everyone, welcome back to the latest from the world of Formula One. Today's updates are genuinely eye-opening, particularly when it comes to the driver market. Rumors have been swirling for weeks about Cadillac and who they plan to designate as their lead driver next season. While some reports suggested a deal had already been inked with a particular star, today's chatter from multiple insiders implies the reality might be far more surprising. It seems Cadillac has indeed formalized a contract for 2026, but the driver in question may not be the one fans were originally anticipating. This revelation has set the F1 community alight with speculation. As always, I'm curious about your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if you enjoy the discussion, and subscribe if you're new. Your support genuinely means a lot. Shifting gears slightly, let's turn our attention to Ferrari, where the tension continues to build. Fred Varao recently made pointed remarks about Lewis Hamilton's self-critical nature, particularly after the Hungarian Grand Prix. He described Hamilton as someone who tends to undermine his own performance, almost preemptively apologizing or deflecting attention, creating a narrative that can sometimes make situations worse than they are. Ferrari, as Ver notes, faced significant setbacks in China that essentially derailed their championship ambitions. The team has been navigating this by introducing safety margins, a strategy not unique to Ferrari, but applied across the grid to prevent excessive wear or disqualification. To be fair, it's not as if Ferrari alone is grappling with these technical hurdles. Other teams have also been cautious about ride heights and floor wear. Yet, there's a sense of defensive storytelling coming from Maranello, almost suggesting that their season was compromised solely due to external misfortune rather than acknowledging inherent design challenges. The reality is more nuanced. Teams like Ferrari are constantly balancing performance gains with regulatory compliance, and it's a delicate dance to extract maximum speed while staying within the rules. Adding fuel to the fire, a blast from Ferrari's past has emerged in the form of Arturo Mazzarillo, a former F1 driver who raced for Ferrari decades ago. Now in his 80s, Mazzarillo has offered his own, somewhat controversial, perspective on the team's current situation. He suggested that perhaps Ferrari should consider a driver change, hinting that Hamilton's arrival was primarily a commercial decision rather than a purely sporting one. According to Mazzarillo, a substantial portion of Ferrari's workforce allegedly did not support bringing Hamilton to Indiana. While this seems difficult to verify, the implication has sparked debate about internal sentiment within the scuderia. Surely, for engineers and team members, working alongside a driver of Hamilton's caliber, statistically one of the most accomplished in the sport's history, would bring a certain excitement and prestige, regardless of personal opinions. Mazzarillo further noted that drivers who feel undervalued or marginalized often lose motivation. His view is that Hamilton's calculated approach, waiting for the right opportunities rather than pushing recklessly for marginal gains, is strategic rather than a sign of disengagement. Even at this stage of his career, Hamilton remains capable of capitalizing on the right circumstances, though Mazzarillo emphasizes that he would only take risks when genuinely advantageous, not for inconsequential positions. It's an intriguing lens on both driver psychology and the subtle dynamics that unfold behind the scenes in top-tier motorsport. Beyond personnel and psychology, Ferrari has also shared insights into their technical development priorities. The focus, Varao indicates, has largely shifted toward 2026, with most upgrades and experimental work aimed at optimizing next year's car. This includes deep dives into suspension systems, brake cooling, and thermal management, areas where small gains now can translate into substantial advantages later. Teams across the grid, from McLaren to Mercedes, are adopting similar strategies, treating this season as an extended laboratory to test concepts and carry forward learnings for future cars. Suspension performance, in particular, remains a critical determinant of overall competitiveness, and understanding these systems in detail can provide a measurable head start in subsequent campaigns. Speaking of McLaren, their innovative approach to brake cooling and tire temperature management has drawn attention from competitors. Teams are closely monitoring how McLaren maintains rear tire integrity under high-stress conditions, possibly through clever mechanical adjustments or aerodynamic tweaks. If rival squads cannot replicate these strategies, they may find themselves at a considerable disadvantage in 2026, highlighting the ongoing chess match of technical innovation in Formula One. Meanwhile, the driver market continues to captivate the attention of fans, pundits, and insiders alike, with an ever-growing flurry of speculation surrounding several key figures. Logan Lawson, for instance, has emerged repeatedly in rumor cycles as a potential candidate for a return to Red Bull. While his raw speed and past performances have earned him recognition, prevailing sentiment among analysts and team insiders suggests that a comeback may not ultimately materialize. The challenges lie not only in evaluating his consistency under pressure, but also in reconciling his driving style with the intricate technical requirements of Red Bull's car, which relies heavily on precise aerodynamics and tire management. Isack Hadjar, in parallel, is developing a reputation that is both promising and precarious. His undeniable talent and flashes of brilliance on the track are increasingly contrasted by moments of inconsistency that have left team managers and fans cautious. Hadjar's raw pace makes him a driver to watch, but his fluctuating performance under high-stakes conditions has created doubts about whether he can sustain a championship-level campaign. With younger, hungrier rivals steadily rising through the ranks, the pressure on Hadjar to refine his approach and deliver consistent results has never been greater. Analysts are now closely monitoring his decision-making in qualifying sessions, overtaking maneuvers, and tire management as indicators of whether he can cement his place among the elite. Meanwhile, Red Bull itself is reportedly exploring options not just for the immediate future, but also for 2027 and beyond. Should Max Verstappen decide to depart, the team faces the daunting challenge of identifying a successor capable of maintaining their dominance. In this speculative scenario, George Russell has been mentioned as a potential candidate. However, any move would depend heavily on a complex interplay of factors: Russell's long-term ambitions, his comfort with team dynamics, perceptions of internal stability, and willingness to adapt to Red Bull's unique engineering philosophy. It is a delicate balancing act. Even a driver of Russell's caliber would have to weigh the potential benefits against the risks of shifting to a team with different operational structures, cultural expectations, and performance pressures. Then there's Alex Albon, whose situation adds yet another layer of intrigue to the driver market. Despite reported interest from Red Bull, Albon has consistently declined overtures to rejoin the team, citing both personal and professional considerations. His reluctance underscores how career decisions in Formula One extend far beyond mere talent or statistics. Factors such as personal well-being, family priorities, long-term career planning, and compatibility with team culture all play crucial roles. Each negotiation becomes a chess match, where timing, leverage, and perception can determine whether a deal comes to fruition or collapses entirely. In this environment, every contract extension, new signing, or rumor transfer carries strategic weight, influencing not only team performance, but also the broader competitive landscape. Shifting focus to Cadillac, the situation is even more opaque and layered with uncertainty. While Mercedes' lineup appears relatively stable, with George Russell and Kimi firmly in place, Cadillac's roster remains in flux. A wide array of potential drivers has been linked to the team, including Joe Guanyu, Mick Schumacher, Alex Dunn, Jack Crawford, Colton Herta, and Zach Sullivan. In recent weeks, however, two names, Perez and Dragovich, have emerged as clear frontrunners for the coveted seats. According to Planet F1, Perez is reportedly finalizing a deal for the 2026 season, a development that has sent ripples through the paddock and captured significant media attention. Earlier discussions in July suggested that Perez and Bottas were both under consideration, highlighting the strategic deliberations Cadillac is undertaking as it seeks to assemble a roster capable of competing at the highest level. Beyond individual drivers, the broader context of the market reveals how interconnected the entire ecosystem of Formula One has become. Technical development, team strategy, and driver psychology are all intertwined. Teams are no longer making decisions based solely on who is fastest on a given lap. They're factoring in adaptability to evolving car regulations, consistency over a season, and the ability to integrate seamlessly into a highly complex team environment. The decisions made today about driver lineups, contract renewals, and technical investments will echo across seasons, shaping the fortunes of teams and the careers of drivers alike. In short, the driver market resembles an intricate puzzle with pieces that are constantly shifting. Every rumor, negotiation, and strategic maneuver contributes to a narrative that is as much about anticipation and projection as it is about present-day performance. Teams like Ferrari remain under intense scrutiny, both on and off the track, their every decision dissected for insight into their championship ambitions. Formula One, in this sense, continues to prove that it is as much a game of mental acuity, foresight, and strategic planning as it is of raw speed. With the championship for next season already looming on the horizon, every technical adjustment, every personnel decision, and every calculated move in the driver market carries profound implications, not only for the teams and drivers, but also for the millions of fans who follow the sport with unwavering attention. The question has been buzzing in the paddock for weeks. Would Cadillac opt for a pair of seasoned campaigners, drivers with years of experience and proven skill, to guide the team through its formative years in Formula One? Or would they gamble on a younger talent, someone with potential to grow alongside the team? By mid-August, speculation began to lean toward the latter. The conversations circulating suggested a lineup that might feature one familiar name, Sergio Perez, paired with a promising newcomer, someone like Oscar Piastri or a standout from the Formula 2 ranks, with Arthur Dragovich emerging as a serious contender. The chatter around a potential Perez-Dragovich pairing grew louder over that week. Analysts, journalists, and insiders all seem to converge on the idea that combining Perez's experience with Dragovich's raw talent could be an attractive balance of reliability and future potential. Many in the paddock noted that the list of viable candidates was surprisingly short once you filtered out drivers unlikely to be available or capable of handling the unique pressures of a fledgling F1 team. Dragovich, a former F2 champion, quickly rose to the top of that list. From Cadillac's perspective, the primary goal next year isn't necessarily to fight at the very front of the grid. While they would be running Ferrari engines in the short term, the ultimate plan is to develop their own power unit under General Motors, projected around 2029. Until then, the focus is on gaining a foothold in Formula One, building a valuable infrastructure, and establishing a brand presence. Commercially, pairing Perez with a Brazilian or Mexican driver makes a lot of sense. Perez brings significant attention from Mexican fans, merchandise sales, and sponsor interest, while Dragovich could appeal to the Brazilian market, offering a complementary mix of commercial and sporting value. At the same time, other names were being floated in conversations about the second seat. Drivers like guanyu were mentioned, not necessarily as championship contenders, but for their consistency and market appeal, especially in China. Yet, insiders point out that while Zhou's presence might generate commercial interest, the impact is less profound if he isn't regularly contending for wins. Cultural and market appeal only works if paired with performance. A driver like Perez, on the other hand, combines strong racekraft with the potential to excite fans in multiple regions. The narrative took a sharp turn when Planet F1 reported that Perez had, in fact, reached an agreement with Cadillac. It's important to clarify what this implies. An agreement is not necessarily a signed contract. There could still be details being negotiated or alternative options being considered, perhaps even discussions with Alpine. But the indication was clear: Perez was increasingly likely to be part of Cadillac's next F1 lineup. Meanwhile, discussions about Valtteri Bottas grew more serious. Bottas, a Finnish veteran with a history of delivering consistent performances, particularly in qualifying, emerged as a logical partner for Perez. The two have shared track history as secondary drivers to Hamilton and Verstappen, and both bring the kind of experience that could accelerate Cadillac's development. While some analysts speculated that pairing two seasoned drivers might limit opportunities for young talent, The upside for the team's engineering and performance feedback was considerable. Bottas' insights, combined with Perez's Rasecraft, could provide the technical team with invaluable guidance, potentially more so than introducing an inexperienced driver with high potential but limited immediate impact. From a fan and media perspective, the potential Bottas-Perez combination generated excitement. Graham Loan of Racing News 365 reported that Cadillac had finalized a deal with Bottas, suggesting that the veteran's return to Formula One was imminent. Polls conducted by the media outlet showed overwhelming support for Bottas joining the team, with nearly 90% of respondents agreeing he was the right fit. Observers pointed out that Bottas' record in qualifying, particularly his consistent Q3 appearances during his Mercedes tenure, spoke volumes about his reliability and speed. Even if his last seasons at Alfa Romeo were underwhelming due to car performance issues, Bottas' skill and experience remain undeniable. There's also the matter of Bottas' previous penalties. In December 2024, he incurred a 5-place grid drop for causing a collision, a penalty carried over to the next time he participates in a race. While this might seem significant, in reality, for a team like Cadillac, it is unlikely to materially affect their long-term performance. It's more of a footnote than a major setback, highlighting that Bottas' experience outweighs minor procedural drawbacks. From a strategic standpoint, the move to sign both Bottas and Perez represents a calculated decision. Instead of nurturing raw talent, Cadillac appears focused on establishing a solid foundation of experience, reliability, and constructive feedback. Bottas' calm, methodical approach, combined with Perez's aggressive yet controlled racing style, creates a dynamic where the team can accelerate development while maintaining stability. For Bottas, this environment may also be appealing. After years competing alongside championship contenders at Mercedes, a slightly less pressurized setting could allow him to make a significant impact without the extreme stress of a front-running team. Questions remain, of course, particularly about Alpine and other potential opportunities. Alpine will be running Mercedes power next year, presenting a potentially more competitive seat. Yet, the allure of Cadillac lies in the ability to shape the team's future, contribute to engineering development, and participate in a project where his experience is directly influential. For Bottas, this could mark a new chapter, one that balances personal impact, professional satisfaction, and the chance to remain a significant figure in Formula One. In summary, the unfolding story paints a picture of a team making thoughtful, strategic choices. Cadillac appears poised to blend experience and potential with a lineup that combines Bottas' veteran consistency and Perez's proven Rasecraft. This decision, while possibly disappointing for fans hoping to see a younger driver step in immediately, reflects a long-term vision. Build a competitive, commercially viable, and technically insightful team that can grow steadily toward its ultimate goal of competing at the very top of Formula One. For fans, commentators, and insiders, it will be fascinating to see how this partnership evolves, how the drivers adapt, and how Cadillac positions itself in a fiercely competitive landscape.